they could have an event for a month, 2 months, where these corruption zones are actually keystones for the next area. So you're locked out between 68, you'd undo this, the area 72, you unlock the next one, it's like 80. That would incentivize you to run as many areas in the zone so you can progress to the next one without dying. And then it's incentivizing you to run more maps. It's amazing, the psychology, isn't it? How easy it is. Honestly, tell me if you're incentivized to run these maps. I honestly want to know whether people feel incentivized to run these maps purely just to get to level 85, 90, so they can do the content with the pinnacle bosses and stuff. Hello and welcome to this video. Now, we will start and we'll run a map, but I haven't been grinding because it's Father's Day today, and as my new cup says, I am amazing, as well as always right. So, let's get into this map and we'll talk about some things. Now, we'll start with the actual league, the Abyss. The Abyss during the actual campaign is fine. It adds experience, gets some good drops sometimes, but it's in every single zone from login. That gets highly just mind-numbing, and it's like in the way. Fair enough, in the campaign. I don't think game sounds are too loud. Just double check. I'll turn down slightly just in case. It's hard to concentrate on talking and on all this. But, yeah. Once you get to maps, it should be occasional, not every single zone. You got 1 to 2, sometimes even 3, because some of the zones are just massive. Which brings us to another point. These zones are still way too big. Sprinting is not the answer. Sprinting is an answer they gave us because after telling us three, maybe 4 times that it was our fault that we are going through the areas too slowly, either because we have no gear or when to go in the wrong way or stuff like that. Oh, go away. I'm trying to talk. And because this actually ticked off some of the biggest streamers and content creators, because it's like they have data mined the backside out of this game. They're not going too slow through it or going the wrong way. The areas are way too big. Now sacrifice my rower to get out of that. The inability to dodge things, yes, they improved it a little. But as you just saw, they keep creating things that spawn like at your feet. Now, yes, that was some semi my fault because I stood near it and then it spawned as I was standing there. But if you go through the corrupt zones, the Beyond is programmed to spawn pretty much at your feet. Now, some of the zones are quite narrow in certain sections. So you end up having a choke point where you can no longer move because the Beyond spawned right under you. And then it just depends on survivability. If you haven't got great survivability or stun threshold or anything like that, then you're probably dead. That brings me to another point. They refuse to change the monsters when they get stunned, move out of the damage zone. If you're doing all your damage, doing your combos like they want you to do, you build up a stun, you shouldn't have to then build up a completely another lot of burst, which the stun is usually over by the time you get your burst damage. Yeah, you have to build up entire new attack because they have programmed them to get out of your damage zone. Now, sometimes they actually stagger where you need them, totally by accident, because with the lightning rod especially, if I have a broader area where I've actually done it, if they get staggered backwards here, I can still get them, obviously. But then I've actually had to go through a whole new set of boss mechanics purely because, one, they want you to do combos and they make the bosses move around 99% of the time. Well, that's good. They're all coming to me. And then on top of that, when you do stun them, they move out to your damage zone. And then they get unstunned by the time you get your stuff back on. And then they move around 90% of the time whilst you're trying to get them to in the right zone. Half the time you have to try to bait them into trying to jump on you in a, so like say they're over there, you have to go like here and wait for them to try to do their big move and then come and burst them. Fair enough, that's a bit of mechanic usage or whatever. But I've had instances, especially the Act 4 boss, because obviously never seen it before. I had almost died when he was virtually dead. If he had stayed in my damage zone, he would have been dead. I had to go through all his mechanics again, and I almost died and had to reset the entire fight, which has like 3 phases, 3 sub-phases. That guy got stunned and he just kept going. Okay. He just ignored my stun. I'm guessing that's just a certain modifier. And yet, they keep making massive areas. Like this, all the way over here I gotta go. For no other reason than because they want backsides in seats and longer play time and all that. Like campaign, fine. They want to do all their artsy-fartsy stuff and make it look good, which they do. Act 4, individually, sucks. Act 4, aesthetically and everything, looks awesome. You can clearly tell that in the boss fight with the siren slash mermaid lady that's topless, they clearly spent 30 hours working on her top half and 2 hours on the actual fight. It sucks. It's dumb. Half the time I was standing still, slightly moving, because she comes across the map or does stuff or does a little bubble, waiting for her to get back in the arena. Because she randomly does it, and one of the times, because I had to rerun the zone, one of the times, every second move, she would go off. I think potentially it was HP sort of, too much damage, I'm gone. Because I could only get her for a split second, so I only had like minimal burst damage. I could only put down a couple of lightning rods. But yeah, I was literally waiting for the boss to get back into the fight. Purely because they spent way too much time on her top half and not enough time on the actual fight. Now, if that's the direction they're going to go, Act 5, 6 is just going to be naked ladies everywhere. Yes, they'll probably get a bigger player base playing just so they can see the naked ladies. It doesn't mean that it's a quality player base. They'll probably get more eyeballs watching streamers and all that, because obviously people that don't want to go through the hours of grind to do it will just watch streamers so they can see it. I'll take that crit shrine in a second. Right now, actually. And yeah, the league is nothing. Like, if Abyss didn't have it, if Abyss didn't exist in POE 1, this league being in POE 1 would be cool, because it would be some extra content you interact with. It would still be highly annoying having it in every single map, but whatever. But yeah, like, the league is not a league that they should have added now. This is a league they added because they had no other content to add. See, that guy just fell out of my damage zone. I could have just barrage shot him and killed him if he had stayed in my zone. Yeah, so I literally have to use my arrows to move across so I can see the entire area. Like, they have added some currency stuff because they don't want crafting to be like in POE 1, which is cool. Having something different. They added some more, I wouldn't say deterministic, that the Abyss stuff does add some sort of deterministic based on the data mining that a lot of the people did, which is cool. If you like that meta crafting type stuff, you got something in this league. But the actual greater orbs and all that is probably the best thing, and they could have added that in just a patch. And apart from the Abyss stuff, which they obviously had to add Abyss to add that stuff, they're going to interrupt my portal. Yeah, like, what they actually added was nothing as far as a league. It's just a league. It's not a league that the game needed right now. The game needed a point. Because, honestly, tell me, except for getting all the way to the tippity top endgame and taking on all the boss and making him as hard as possible, what incentivizes you to actually do all this hours of grinding on all these huge maps? Sorry, waystones. Yeah, like, what incentivizes you? Nothing. Quick fix. If they're going to steal the Echo idea from Last Epoch at least incentivizes you and makes you feel like you're achieving stuff by having monoliths. You complete a monolith, you complete a boss. Do you know these tower things that have all the lieutenants and stuff? They could have a lieutenant at each of the different zones. They could even make it go from level 68 to like 72 or something as you go towards this lieutenant, fight the lieutenant, then you unlock another area where the area's more higher level, more difficult. And then until you get to like T14s, T15s, you don't hit the boss lieutenants until then. Like, there's nothing to incentivize me to do any of this. Like, oh, why don't I just do this one how I want? Yeah, it's not all that possible. Obviously, you can add stuff to it with the precursor stone things. But yeah, what's the incentive I got for taking on this boss? Nothing. Maybe some good drops. The breach? If I don't care about breach, then obviously I haven't empowered it, so it's virtually useless. Ritual? Maybe it has something good in it, but if I haven't empowered the tower to do ritual, I don't care about it, because it won't give me anything decent. Abyss. If I get a depth thing, I might get a... what do they call it? Abyssal Echo or something? Abyssal Echoes. Because this is one of the more expensive items that you can... No, this lady. Not my shop. Because I want Exaltes. Yeah, one of these, 35. So yeah, if it drops one of them, I get some profit. Otherwise, I don't care. I run it because I have to. Like, go away. Like, there is nothing to incentivize you to do any of this. What's the point of leveling? Nothing. You get more skill gems, do more damage to be able to actually do the amount of content that you're at. Like, there is no reason to do any of this. The interludes I'll ignore purely because they're going to change, obviously. I like the idea of being able to travel places. They say you can do it in any order you want, blah, 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 but there is zone levels, so you can't necessarily go to any level you want. But I do like their little idea of being able to just pick and choose. Fresh idea for compared to Act 3, Act 2, and all that. But the traveling and the this and the that and trying to find people and like King's March. I'm not on my waypoint. No. Like, this is just why. And they're meant to have fixed all these loading times. I personally think they're slower. And yeah, if we run over here, and yeah, like, there's a waypoint that's completely useless. Like, you always spawn there. You can't just travel to there. That should be a checkpoint, not a waypoint. And yet, these people over here, like, yes, for lore, blah, blah, blah. But they're hidden until you go find them. And, like, they're spread out just crazy in towns. But yeah, like, they need to fix this. The endgame needs to completely just change. And it's not, oh, wait until there's a sub-pinnacle boss or something like that. Like, doing this just sucks in my opinion. running, or this, I have to beat a boss. If I don't care about beating a boss, then I'm doing content I don't want to do. Breach, Expedition, like Path of Exile 1 at least, they're trying to get rid of some of the power out of it, but you can deterministically do your maps or waystones. Like I could take this, I could do stuff, I could take tower, do stuff, and then add more things to it. But it will add, but you need to drop it as well. Need to drop the right one in the right order, blah blah blah. I don't even know how to get my Atlas passive. There we go. And yeah, like, this is a fresh idea that's like Skyrim. They're working on it. It's like, yeah, whatever. It works as far as doing things. But yeah, just the lack of reason to run. Fair enough, these are all small. It takes you hardly any time to actually complete all these maps. But they are so huge, deliberately. And it's like, I gotta do all these maps just to get over here and do this corrupt thing. And then I gotta do all these maps to get over to this corrupt thing. Then do all these maps to get over to the next corrupt thing. Like, that is the only point, really, in the endgame at the moment. But I don't want to do all these maps. I have to do this boss, then do this unique map, this breach, come into here, do the corrupt zone, wherever the boss is, take that out. And then probably 10, 15 maps to go over here. And yeah, like, they need to zone if they're going to have it like this and be like Path of Exile, they need to have a zone. The corruption can be the zone boss or whatever. You go boom, 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 boom. You beat the corruption, yay! You now unlock more content, or you unlock a higher area. Then you go boom, boom, boom. Corruption. You get to go to a higher area. Like, that simple thing would give you a sense of achievement in your mapping. It's that simple. I've done, I think, 2. I've ignored that one. Yeah, I think I've done 2. That guy was one of those harder boss. That was Act 4 boss. Yeah, I think I've done 2. But yeah, if you start maps, you got to start all the way down here, somewhere here. Then you got to work your way up, even if it's like, say, this one. You then take on the corruption and you beat the corruption boss. You then unlock the ability to do higher content. Until then, you're cap locked out. And then you do, all the way over here. Take on this one. Take out the corruption boss. That unlocks you doing higher areas. That's incentivizing you to run maps. It's that simple. It's not that hard to understand the psychology behind doing stuff like this. But that was my little rant. The Lightning Arrow Amazon is going strong. But yeah, like, it's obviously going to be nerfed next week. Although we'll probably get a light nerf, and then the melee will get buffs that don't really help it, like this league, whilst changing things up so they actually make things harder to get than easier. Like that elemental hit stuff, if they don't change that formula and just keep adding stuff like that, then they don't understand their own game. Because it doesn't work like Path of Exile 1. It is before the elemental resistance, so it's a big hit. The big hit armor is useless. You need like 90 times the damage to take minimal. So say it's 1,000 hit. You need 90,000 armor to minimize that. Equal to Path of Exile 1, pretty much. Because resistances, once you get them capped, you're only taking about 10k, 10%, maybe 15% of the actual damage. So yeah, like, I'm assuming that endgame is going to get a huge buff next patch. They claim that it's coming. But if it is just some half-naked boss that we still have to do all this, fight all this, spend hours and hours pointlessly going through just getting levels, just to fight some half-naked lady pinnacle boss, then it's going to still suck. They need to change this to incentivize people running zones, especially if they're going to make them huge. But yeah, purely, they could do this tomorrow. They could have a event type thing, run it for a month, 2 months, because everyone's, unless you're late to the party, everyone's probably more or less over the builds and stuff now because there is limited things to do. They could have an event for a month, 2 months, where these corruption zones are actually keystones for the next area. So you're locked out between 68, you undo this, the area 72, you unlock the next one, it's like 80. That would incentivize you to run as many areas in the zone so you can progress to the next one without dying. And then it's incentivizing you to run more maps. It's amazing, the psychology, isn't it? How easy it is. But yeah, that's my little rant. I know I probably ticked off a few people. But if you haven't tried Lightning Arrow, do try it before they patch it out next league, because it is very strong. The campaign sucks. Not necessarily for Lightning Arrow. It's purely upgrade to upgrade sort of deal. If you can get a bow that's above your area, then you'll be way better than not. But the campaigning just is boring. It's meant to be, it's campaign. But once you get past that, it's fun. You just boom, 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 bam. If you add electrocution to it, it'll be even more fun probably. I'm thinking about going that way if I do more with this character. Going that electrocution way so I can shock their backsides with electrocution and they're just going bleh, just for fun. Like it won't really add anything. If I had power charges for some reason to do something, because I could go up, take resonance, which would give me power charges, or I could take frenzy charges, and electrocution stuff would give me the charges. But yeah, do play Lightning Arrow. But yeah, honestly, tell me if you're incentivized to run these maps. I honestly want to know whether people feel incentivized to run these maps purely just to get to level 85, 90, so they can do the content with the pinnacle bosses and stuff. But yeah, honestly, let me know what incentivizes you to run zones, because maybe it might help me. But I'll catch you in the next one, and goodbye.